First, procrastination. Source: ChatGPT. Procrastination is the tendency of a person to put off or postpone things to be done, even when one knows that the things are important or necessary to be done. This behavior can lead to increased stress, a pile-up of tasks, difficulty with time management, and an impact on quality of life. Procrastination can manifest as worry, anxiety about a task, or a lack of motivation to start or complete a task. This behavior pattern may affect an individual's work, school, family life, etc. Often, the key to overcoming procrastination is to develop good time management skills, set clear goals, overcome the psychological barriers to procrastination, and take practical actions to gradually complete tasks. Source: Wikipedia. Procrastination, or procrastination, is the behavior of voluntarily postponing something despite knowing that doing so will have negative consequences. Often, this is a habitual human behavior. Many people procrastinate doing something, such as daily chores, or even important tasks, such as attending an appointment, submitting a work report or academic assignment, or discussing a stressful issue with a partner. While often considered a negative trait because of its hindering effect on a person's productivity, often associated with depression, low self-esteem, guilt, and inadequacy, it can also be considered a negative trait that may bring risks or negative outcomes. A sensible response to your request, or waiting for new information to become available. From a cultural and social perspective, students from all backgrounds have been found to exhibit academic procrastination, but for different reasons. Students from Western cultures tend to procrastinate to avoid doing worse than they have done before, or not learning enough as they should, while students from non-Western cultures tend to procrastinate to avoid looking incompetent, or to avoid demonstrates a lack of ability to peers. It is also important to consider how different cultural perspectives on time management influence procrastination. For example, in cultures with a multi-active view of time, people tend to place greater emphasis on ensuring that work is done accurately before completing it. In cultures with a linear view of time, people tend to assign a certain amount of time to a task and stop when the allotted time expires. Studies of behavioral patterns in pigeons through delayed gratification suggest that procrastination is not unique to humans but can also be observed in some other animals. Experiments have found clear evidence of procrastination in pigeons, showing that pigeons tend to choose complex but delayed tasks over simple but fast tasks. Second, reasons for delays. Source: ChatGPT. Procrastination can be caused by a variety of factors, and it can be different for everyone. Here are some common causes of procrastination. Fear and anxiety. Fear of failing or performing poorly on a task, or anxiety about the outcome of a task, can lead to procrastination. Sometimes people delay starting a task to avoid possible failure or unpleasant consequences. Tasks that are too big or unclear. Tasks that are too big or have unclear goals can make people feel like they don't know where to start, leading to procrastination. Breaking down tasks and setting clear, small goals can help solve this problem. Lack of motivation or interest. Procrastination can result if a task is not compelling enough to the individual or if one does not see the point in completing the task. A lack of motivation and interest can make it difficult to start or continue working. Perfectionism. The pursuit of perfection may make people feel that the task does not meet their high standards, leading to procrastination. The tendency to strive for perfection can lead to fear of failure or making mistakes, which can lead to delays in starting tasks. Difficulties with time management. Poor time management habits can lead to procrastination. An inability to plan time effectively, a lack of awareness of priorities, or excessive distraction can all be causes of procrastination. The key to overcoming procrastination is to understand the reasons behind your procrastination behavior and adopt targeted strategies to deal with these reasons. Building good time management skills, setting clear goals, changing your perspective on tasks, and overcoming fear and anxiety are all effective ways to deal with procrastination. Third, Tim Urban. Source: ChatGPT. Tim Urban is a well-known blogger who founded the blog called Wait But Why. He is known for his humorous, in-depth, and illustrated approach to a variety of topics ranging from science, technology, psychology, and more. Urban's blog is popular for its in-depth analysis and engaging articles on complex topics. Some of his famous articles include Why Procrastinators Procrastinate and The Story of Us, which explore complex issues through humorous illustrations and easy-to-understand language. Interesting topic that attracted a lot of attention and discussion from readers. Urban is acclaimed for his unique writing style and in-depth exploration of a variety of topics. His blog posts are insightful, engaging, and provide new insights and understandings of many things. Source: Wikipedia. Tim Urban was born in 1981 and grew up in Newton, Massachusetts. He graduated cum laude with a Bachelor of Arts in Government from Harvard University. He has worked as a teaching assistant, tutoring in almost every subject, helping students prepare for the SAT subject tests, ACT, GRE, and ISEE tests. Before founding Wait But Why, Urban wrote a blog on Blogspot called Under the Turban. Turban means turban, which is also a combination of Urban's name, T. Urban. Andrew Finn graduated with honors from the University of Michigan's Ross School of Business and is an occasional speaker at UCLA's Anderson School of Business. Wait But Why isn't Urban and Finn's first collaboration. In 2007, they developed a program called Arbor Bridge, which was designed to prepare students for admission to U.S. universities and help them achieve higher grades. 4th. Why Procrastinators Procrastinate. Source: ChatGPT. Tim Urban's Why Procrastinators Procrastinate is one of his famous articles on the Wait But Why blog. This article explains the nature of procrastination in a humorous yet in-depth way, exploring why people tend to put off important tasks and the psychological mechanisms behind procrastination. The article describes the different types of procrastinators, analyzes the root causes of procrastination, and discusses strategies for dealing with procrastination. With humor and rich illustrations, Urban delves into this common and troubling pattern of behavior, engaging readers and giving people a deeper understanding of their own procrastination. The article highlights the relationship between procrastination behavior and emotions, psychological states, and perceptions of tasks, providing people with a deeper understanding of and a way to deal with procrastination. This article has also sparked many discussions online and has become an important reference for understanding and solving procrastination problems. 5th. Wait But Why blog. Source: ChatGPT. Wait But Why is a well-known blog created by Tim Urban. This blog is known for its in-depth, interesting, and engaging articles covering a variety of topics ranging from science and technology to human psychology and social issues. Urban's articles are often presented in a graphic format, combining humorous illustrations and easy-to-understand language to explain a variety of complex topics in a simple and easy-to-understand style. His approach to deep thinking and serious topics has made the blog arouse widespread attention and resonance online. The content of Wait But Why's articles is rich and diverse, covering a wide range of topics, from exploring human behavior patterns, technological development, psychology, philosophy, to the exploration of the universe and human history, etc. The blog is praised for its unique perspective and in-depth insights, attracting a large and loyal readership. Source: Wikipedia. Wait But Why, WBW, is a website created by Tim Urban and Andrew Finn. Website: https://waitbutwhy.com/, which publishes Urban's articles. The site covers a range of topics in the form of long-form blogs. The articles are illustrated with brief illustrations and provide in-depth discussions on a variety of topics, including artificial intelligence, outer space, and procrastination. In the early days of the site, blog content focused on social media and fun satire on technology, such as 7 ways to annoy people on Facebook and 11 embarrassing things to do about email, before Urban moved on to more profound topics. On May 21, 2014, Urban published the article Fermi Paradox, which became very popular. The website's original slogan was updated every Monday and Thursday. As the length of posts increased and the content became more detailed, starting in 2015 the slogan was first changed to update every Tuesday, then update about every Tuesday, and later to update occasionally. Because of its discussion of science and technology, Wait But Why caught the attention of Elon Musk, and the author was able to complete a series of articles about Musk. In June 2015, Elon Musk asked Urban if he would be willing to write an article about his company and its surrounding industries, so Urban interviewed Musk several times, and the two discussed sustainable transportation, solar energy, and space exploration. Future. On April 20, 2017, Urban published an in-depth article about Musk's transhumanist human-machine interface company Neuralink, about a month and a half after Musk's proposal. Currently, articles on the website are published simultaneously in the Huffington Post and Lifehacker, and are cited by other websites. In February 2016, Urban gave a TED Talk on procrastination. This speech was the fastest video to reach 10 million views among TED speeches, and the second most viewed TED main podium speech. 6th. TED Talk. Source: ChatGPT. TED Talks refer to a series of speaking events organized by TED, Technology, Entertainment, Design. TED is a non-profit organization that aims to spread ideas and opinions in various fields, covering technology, entertainment, design, and other fields. TED speeches are usually delivered by experts, thought leaders, artists, innovators, etc. in various fields. The contents of the speeches are wide-ranging and diverse. They can be prospects for new technologies, discussions of social issues, sharing of personal experiences, exploration of artistic creation, etc. Wait. Speakers usually explain their opinions, experiences, and ideas in a simple and in-depth manner in a short period of time, usually within 18 minutes. Known for their inspiring, insightful and inspiring content, TED Talks are recorded and shared on the TED website and potentially on other platforms. These presentations often engage global audiences and promote thoughtful thinking and exchange on a variety of topics. Source: Wikipedia. TED Conference LLC. Referring to the abbreviation of Technology, Entertainment, Design in English, namely Technology, Entertainment, Design, is a private non-profit organization in the United States, which is famous for the TED Conference it organizes. TED was born in 1984, and its founder is Richard Warman. Since 2002, Chris Anderson has taken over TED, founded the Seed Foundation, and operates the TED Conference. Every March, the TED Conference convenes many outstanding figures in science, design, literature, music, and other fields in the United States to share their thoughts and explorations about technology, society, and people. The TED Global Conference is a sub-conference of the TED Conference. In 2005, the first TED Global Conference was held in the UK. In 2007, the TED Africa Conference was held in Tanzania. In September 2008, the second TED Africa Conference was held in South Africa. Since 2006, videos of TED Talks have been uploaded online. As of December 2014, the total number of TED speech videos included on the TED official website has exceeded 1,900. As of July 2008, the views of these TED speech videos have exceeded 50 million. All TED Talk videos are licensed under Creative Commons, by NC&D. The TED Conference hopes to convey the message that excellent ideas can change people's views on the world and make people reflect on their own actions. The TED Conference is only a part of the TED community. Anyone who agrees with the views conveyed by a TED speech is a member of the TED community, and they can all work together to achieve a great ideal. 7th. Self-discipline. Source: ChatGPT. Self-discipline refers to the ability to control one's behavior, emotions, and habits to achieve goals and maintain a stable behavior pattern. It is the ability to plan, constrain, and manage oneself, enabling people to remain goal-oriented, overcome procrastination, and persist in completing tasks when facing temptations or difficulties. The importance of self-discipline is that it helps people achieving goals. Self-discipline keeps you focused and goal-oriented, helping you move toward your goals more effectively. Establish healthy habits. Through self-discipline, you can develop a healthy lifestyle, including regular exercise, good eating habits, etc. Cope with challenges. Self-discipline allows you to better deal with stress and difficulties, stay calm, and find solutions to problems. Improve efficiency. Through self-discipline, you can manage time and resources more effectively, avoid waste, and improve work efficiency. Improve self-management skills. Self-discipline is a self-management ability that allows you to better control your life. Self-discipline does not happen overnight, it requires practice and development. The key to building self-discipline is to set clear goals. Setting specific, quantifiable goals will help you stay focused and motivated. Make plans and routines. Make reasonable plans and time arrangements, and develop regular living habits. Develop willpower. Willpower is an important factor in maintaining self-discipline, and it can be enhanced through exercise and gradually challenging yourself. Positive thinking and self-motivation. Maintaining a positive attitude and self-motivation can help overcome difficulties and setbacks. Ultimately, self-discipline is an ability that requires practice and persistence, but it can be a critical factor in success and achievement. 8th. Self-discipline relies on planning. Source: ChatGPT. Self-discipline and planning go hand in hand. Planning is the cornerstone of self-discipline. It sets a framework and roadmap for your goals, helps you stay focused and organized, and reduces the possibility of procrastination and confusion. A good plan should have the following characteristics. Clear goals. Set specific, clear, measurable goals. This lets you know what direction you're heading in and allows you to measure your progress. Break down tasks. Break down large goals into smaller, more specific tasks or steps. This helps make the goal more actionable while also making the task less stressful. Time planning. Develop a reasonable schedule and plan, and set a deadline or time period for each task. Time planning allows you to better allocate time and improve efficiency. Priority management. Prioritize tasks and focus on the most important or urgent ones. This helps you avoid getting bogged down in trivial matters and focus on key issues. Flexibility and adjustment. Plans are not set in stone, allow yourself to adjust and change as needed. Sometimes circumstances change and you need the flexibility to adjust your plans. Continuous tracking and feedback. Regularly check in and evaluate progress to see if you are moving towards your goals. This helps maintain momentum and adjust your strategy. By creating and following a good plan, you can manage your time more effectively, stay focused, reduce stress, and ultimately achieve the goals you set. 9th. Do you feel like you are naturally lazy and it is impossible to become self-disciplined? An experienced person will teach you how to make good use of brain mechanisms and overcome impulses. Source: Shangzhou Fortune Network. The world is easy to change, but the nature is hard to change. It means that it is difficult to change our personality, but many people also apply this sentence to the level of self-discipline, thinking, I am born lazy. It has been difficult to change after so many years, and it is impossible to do it. To self-discipline. This view is not uncommon. The cognitive bias here is to regard self-discipline as a fixed subjective attitude or a character that cannot be changed, and then label yourself lazy, thinking that self-discipline will never be possible. Some people think that since I can't do it now, I might as well not do it, because if I can't do it now, it means I am too weak and will be ridiculed and looked down upon by others. Rather than being unable to change, it is better to maintain the status quo. The truth behind self-discipline. But what is behind true self-discipline? In fact, it is a physiological activity related to the brain. All our attitudes and behaviors can be transformed into brain stimulation responses. There is a well-known case in the field of psychology, the protagonist is called Phineas Gage. Why is it famous? Because of Gage's mysterious illness, the world has a new understanding of the relationship between the brain and self-control. On September 13, 1848, an iron rod just pierced the left side of Gage's face, passed through his brain and flew out. Fortunately, he survived and lived for 12 years. But unfortunately, his character changed drastically. In the past, he had a gentle and resolute personality, and everyone liked him. However, since the brain injury, he has become grumpy, impatient, swearing profusely, and is keen on plans but never implements them. Gage's original self-discipline changed, and his self-control completely disappeared. What caused Gage to lose his willpower and lose control of himself? Later research found that the area of the brain damaged by the iron rod inserted into Gage's brain was called the prefrontal lobe. The prefrontal lobe is located in the front part of our brain, almost at the forehead. It is mainly responsible for long-term planning and decision-making, and manages other areas of the brain. In other words, the prefrontal lobe is the brain in the brain of the human brain. In a series of human actions, the body first receives various signals, and then transmits the signals to the prefrontal lobe and makes corresponding decisions. For example, when seeing delicious food, the signal will run over and report to the prefrontal lobe, "Master, there is delicious food here." When seeing gossip on the internet, the signal will run over, "Master, there is gossip, eat some melon." Double 11 discounts, signal ran over and said, "Master, hurry up and buy, buy, buy." Under normal circumstances, our prefrontal lobe will refuse rationally, because the prefrontal lobe has a very important function, which is to plan for the long-term future. Because it focuses on the future, it becomes the calming device in the brain. It can make people delay gratification, think more rationally, and make careful decisions. However, when Gage's prefrontal lobe was injured, his brain was completely out of control, like losing the brakes, and Gage became a carpe diem, super depraved person. Therefore, what we call self-discipline relies on the brain's self-control system with the prefrontal lobe as the core. Let the self-control system defeat the impulsive system. In contrast, there is another system of the brain called the impulse system, which mainly makes us feel pleasure through the secretion of dopamine. Therefore, the impulse system's characteristic of timely gratification can easily make people become impulsive and release their temper when it comes. I want to taste the food when it comes, and I just want to pursue comfort. The impulse system of most animals is very developed, but the self-control system is very weak. But for humans, over the course of hundreds of thousands of years of evolution, brain capacity has nearly doubled, with the main increase being the prefrontal lobe. In other words, our brains have evolved to become more rational and able to control impulses. This also creates the difference between humans and animals. Taking Gage as an example, I just want to tell everyone, self-discipline is not, as we generally understand it, a virtue, an attitude, or even an unchangeable talent. Self-discipline is actually a physiological process related to the prefrontal lobe of the brain. Once there is a problem with the prefrontal lobe, no matter how self-disciplined you are, you will immediately collapse. Fortunately, the degree of development of the prefrontal lobes of humans is very similar. There is no so-called innate difference. Everyone has a powerful self-disciplined brain, but some people simply throw aside the self-disciplined brain. There is a very vivid metaphor called the elephant and the rider. The impulse system is the elephant, and the self-control system is the rider. Some people ride elephants completely out of control and run rampant, but some people learn how to control the elephant and can make the elephant move in the right direction docilely. The difference lies in whether you have a growth mindset, learn little by little, practice little by little, learn how to control the brain more appropriately, gradually let the self-control system defeat the impulsive system, learn the technique of taming the elephant, and develop self-discipline. 10th. If you want to be self-disciplined, you can't just rely on willpower. One way to develop self-discipline habits Source: Tianxia Learning. When you were a child, did you often feel that your father, mother, and elders in the family were very annoying? They told us all day long to study, to work hard, to get up early, to do this, to do that, and they often used various successful cases of self-discipline to confront us. In comparison, various daycare classes, cram schools, and talent classes have to fill up their timetables before they stop. But what's the result? Most people quickly return what they learn to the teacher. They make plans every year, but they can never be realized, and then the streets are full of people who have studied English for 5 or 10 years and still can't speak. It is difficult to lose even 3 kilograms of weight. It's difficult. I still stay in bed every day, I waste time every day, I still often stay up late. I can go on and on with this list. Parents and elders hope that we can become self-disciplined people who can get up by ourselves without being called, read by ourselves without being forced, practice English by ourselves without being nagged, and exercise by ourselves without being urged. We ourselves also hope to be like this. People, but most people, can't do it. Our parents and elders often miss us because we can't do these things, but why can't we do it? Because self-discipline is often against human nature. Yes, you read that right. Self-discipline is often against human nature, so for most people, self-discipline is our natural enemy. We can't do it, it's not our fault, we don't have to feel guilty. Eat, have sex, sleep, play, have fun, and gamble. Why are these things so easy to do? Because we are born with strong driving factors. We do it automatically and spontaneously without being urged or forced by others. Therefore, don't think that the online games on the market are very simple. In addition to programming, many psychologists and human behaviorists are involved in the design, so that players will definitely become addicted and continue to play the games. Play games without sleep and food, and even make many people willing to pay to play games. We draw a conclusion from human nature that we must have a strong driving factor to make us addicted, so that we can do something automatically, continuously, and repeatedly. Do you often hear people say, "I am a travel addict, I am a photo addict"? This means that I am addicted to something. If you are addicted, you will have to do it every day. If you don't do it, you won't feel happy. If you don't do it, you will die. Because you like it and enjoy it, you can continue to do these things. And what about self-discipline? It's usually a little uncomfortable because it's anti-human. For example, if you wake up early every day, especially in winter, who doesn't want to sleep in a warm bed for an extra 30 minutes? Of course you will not do such a thing automatically and spontaneously, let alone do it continuously. Self-discipline can be understood as a bit anti-human, usually outside the scope of addiction, so we cannot achieve it. But why do so many people still achieve self-discipline? What are we going to do? What you have to do is, set a trap in front of self-discipline, push yourself in, kidnap yourself, and force yourself to do something. Only then can you achieve self-discipline. Take the most annoying thing about reading and studying as an example. Examination is a trap set up. Most of us are passively pushed into it and kidnapped. Only then will we study, review, and prepare for exams. Only then will you achieve self-discipline before the exam. But why does this kind of self-discipline not last long? As soon as high school students enter college, they let themselves go completely. They play games until late at night. They can't get up in the morning to go to class. We'll talk about reading and exams tomorrow. It's more important to sleep, chat, and chase girls/boys. Because you no longer have a preset trap to push you and force you to be self-disciplined. To give another example, why there have been so many foolish kings since ancient times, both at home and abroad, is because to be a wise king you must be self-disciplined. Kings are also human beings, and they cannot be self-disciplined, especially if they are more than 10,000 people, rich and powerful. They are self-disciplined. The traps ahead are almost non-existent, so they rarely achieve self-discipline. What is the trap set by the official for the king? The long words of the people of the world and the evaluation of them by history books cannot be ashamed of the inheritance of their ancestors. This is the weak trap they set in front of self-discipline, forcing the emperor to enter and forcing them to self-discipline. Let me give you another example to illustrate self-discipline and traps. I now live in Canberra, the capital of Australia. It is an emerging city, an artificially created city, unlike Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, etc., which developed naturally due to historical factors. Canberra is very unfamiliar to many people, which is not surprising as it has been around for a shorter time than other large Australian cities and is often derided as a boring place. What should Canberra do in order to make progress and change people's prejudices against it? It's also about self-discipline, and a city's self-discipline comes from doing better urban planning, developing more diversified enterprises, enhancing the culture of surrounding wineries to promote tourism, and the government investing a larger budget in construction. So what's the trap? It is the artificial capital status. No matter what you think of Canberra, it is the capital of Australia. It has the highest average income and education level in Australia. The best universities in Australia are also here. It is the political centre of Australia and is now the development base of many new enterprises. Even cities are setting traps for themselves. What are we waiting for? After knowing that self-discipline is difficult to achieve, we must set a trap for ourselves, push ourselves into it, and kidnap ourselves for a period of time to force ourselves to be self-disciplined. Self-discipline becomes a habit over time, and once it becomes a habit, it becomes something we can do more often. A fan once sent me a private message and said, Joyce should be a very self-disciplined person, working full-time, running self-media, reading and writing at the same time. Can you share how you do this? Wrong. What I like most is to spend time at home, watching videos on my phone, eating snacks, and chatting with friends. But what is the trap I set for myself in order to exercise self-discipline? Just set up Facebook fan pages and groups. I currently have a fan base of nearly 80,000 people. When I see fans support and messages, read fans' private messages and interact with me, and see fans embark on their own international work and life journeys because of my words and help, I started to try remote work and change the status quo of my career. I must continue to produce good content for everyone. So this fan group and society became a trap set by myself in front of self-discipline, which made me become self-disciplined and then became a habit. Because I have a full-time job, I have to reasonably arrange my time to run this fan group and community. I stipulate that I write for an hour 3 days a week in the morning, and respond to fans' messages and private messages twice a day, morning and evening. Then I used this kind of self-discipline to turn into another trap. Before writing, I exercised for 30 minutes to stretch my muscles and make my thoughts clearer and my writing smoother. Self-disciplined people are also human beings, but they are terrible and respectable people. They will set traps for themselves, push themselves into them ruthlessly, and then achieve the goal of self-discipline. Every successful entrepreneur, dancer, musician, writer, speaker, artist, develops self-discipline in this way. If you are unable to be cruel yourself and need someone to push you, perhaps your parents, your classmates, a coach, or your lover, to push you into the trap, then you can turn to them and let them help you. There are also many people who think, am I such self-abuse? Then I might as well not have any self-discipline. Of course you can choose this, and it's also the easiest option. A self-disciplined life can often help you achieve many goals, which is often better. It is of course relatively simple to comply with the original drive for enjoyment in human nature, but when self-discipline is developed, it will become a habit and an important asset in life. People who are self-disciplined will have a lot of knowledge and skills, and will become the key to defining a person, that is, the legendary and enviable successful people. Ordinary people on earth will have more real freedom because of self-discipline, including freedom of money and time, and will also get many things they dream of, such as a fit body, the ability to speak foreign languages fluently, smoother career development, strong spirit, ageless appearance, etc. You may have heard a saying, the more self-discipline you have, the luckier you will be. What is very practical is that the process of developing self-discipline must be a difficult time that makes people want to give up. But life after having self-discipline is usually very beautiful. Like the movie star Eddie Peng, every time he makes a movie, he unlocks a new skill, such as gymnastics, dolphin trainer qualification, surfing, sign language, mixed martial arts, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, I-shaped tiger boxing, tiger crane double-shaped boxing, Thai language, Burmese. As long as he can interpret the role he plays more perfectly, he will work hard to learn and practice. He is the best representative of self-discipline. He originally seemed to have no advantages, but his abilities are getting stronger and his acting skills are getting better and better. Width. If you want to evolve from traditional working methods to remote working, there must be very uncertain factors to overcome, and there will also be many undeveloped abilities to develop, and these cannot be achieved without self-discipline. Think about it, set a trap for yourself, then push yourself into it, develop a habit, and you will have a good chance of achieving it. 11th. Have you procrastinated today? Understand the psychology of procrastination so that you no longer blame yourself. What you need is to rest, not to give up. Source: Parent-Child World. Many people have procrastination. For example, some people set a goal to jog 3 times a week for health reasons. But when it is their turn to run, they will think that exercise is too hard, so they don't run when it rains or the air pollution index is high. I was in a bad mood and didn't want to run. Anyway, the week wasn't over yet, so I sat down and went back and forth with messages on my phone first. As a result, I didn't even run once from Monday to Sunday. Students must do their homework after school, but doing homework is very painful, so let's play games and chat online first. Time passed by all of a sudden, so I didn't start doing my homework until midnight before going to bed. I believe everyone is familiar with this situation. Some people even bought a copy of The Psychology of Procrastination in order not to procrastinate, but ended up putting it off for 4 years without picking it up and reading it. How to improve procrastination? Before you want to know the method, you must first clearly understand what is going on. From a psychological perspective, procrastination can be deconstructed as, there is a positive goal that you want to achieve in the future, which requires some actions now to gradually achieve it, but these actions are hard, uncomfortable, unpleasant, or even just thinking about it makes me anxious, so I don't want to do it. Procrastination is a common phenomenon in everyone's daily life and is caused by 2 human natures. The first characteristic is that people tend to seek pleasure and avoid pain. That is, when things are pleasant and happy, we will do it quickly; if they are painful and irritating, we will automatically stay away. The second characteristic is that we are not sensitive to future time, and the longer the time, the less sensitive it is. For example, take the famous marshmallow experiment. Give a marshmallow to a 3 or 4-year-old child in front of him and tell him that if he has not eaten the marshmallow in front of him after 15 minutes, he will give them another one. Generally speaking, it only takes 15 minutes to get one more pill, which is very easy for most adults. But 3 and 4-year-old children are less able to tolerate it, so after the adults leave, most children will eat the marshmallows in front of them. From this research, we can understand that it is human nature to enjoy life in the moment, and that better results in the future require people to have a deeper understanding of things and time. Don't laugh at children who can't help it. In fact, adults have a similar situation. One experimental method is to explore how big the benefits in the future are before you can hold back. For example, the researcher said to the experimental subject, "Now I will give you 1,000 yuan, but if you are willing to wait a year before taking it, you can get 1,200 yuan. Whether people are willing to accept it depends on 2 factors, profit and time. The longer the time delay, the harder it is to accept it. Therefore, in the above example, most people will choose to take 1000 yuan immediately, because no one knows what will happen in 1 year. Maybe the researcher will be gone after 1 year, or maybe the researcher will be gone after 1 year. I suddenly became rich and became very rich, and I didn't care about the money anymore. The most important thing is that if you get 1000 yuan now, you can do a lot of things immediately. Since there are many uncertainties in the future, most people are unable to recognize the benefits in the future and focus more on immediate benefits. Once you understand that procrastination comes from human nature, you can develop strategies to help you. As mentioned earlier, procrastination includes present drudgery and future good results, so the root cause is nothing more than reducing the pain of present drudgery, or enhancing future good results. So as long as you design based on these 2 points, you can develop a unique method to slow down procrastination. But before you improve your procrastination, you should first examine whether your procrastination symptoms are normal. This sentence sounds paradoxical, but it is true that many people think that they are procrastinators, but they still complete things before the deadline. For example, a report was due in a month, but it was delayed until the last few days and continued to be rushed, but it was still handed in on time. From a third person's perspective, it's not procrastination. But we may think that it is not enough to send it out on time, but it must be done calmly and within the schedule according to the plan. However, as mentioned above, people are not sensitive to time in the longer term, and will underestimate the effort that needs to be completed before starting, so very few people can execute the plan according to the plan. A student once said to me, "Teacher, I really admire your self-discipline. You can teach, write popular science articles, give lectures, and do research, and everything is done in an orderly manner." But I replied very embarrassedly, "In fact, I put off finishing many things until the last minute." He said a very important thing to me, "But, teacher, you finished it in the end, isn't that great?" His response made me feel amazing. Initiation. Yes. Although I always put off finishing it until the last minute, I finally finished it step by step and within the time limit. So why am I so hard on myself? In addition, many people will be dissatisfied with the version they handed over at the last minute. If they could implement it as planned earlier, they would have more room to make the report better, and then start to feel annoyed about their procrastination. This is consistent with perfectionism. Cognition is relatively relevant. When we're done, it's normal to continue to think about and find areas for improvement. After you work hard, you will grow, and you will naturally find more and better things. So you don't need to think that you are procrastinating for the sake of perfectionism. As long as you implement it seriously and hand over the version after trying your best, you don't need to put too much pressure on yourself. Thinking that it is not perfect is procrastination. Of course, the results should not be too different from the general perception. For example, if you think that the results you have delivered are 80%, but when others see them, they are only 20%. This will cause problems in adaptation. As long as you finish it before the time limit, or don't endanger others if you are not on time, you don't have to worry too much. There is no need to label yourself a procrastinator. Labeling yourself with such a label will only make you more reluctant and anxious, making you feel like you are not a good enough person. 12th. Is procrastination making you accomplish nothing? Understand the 6 types of procrastination and find the solution that works for you. Source: Langlang Jiu. Many people will say that they know clearly what they want to do, or even though they have set goals that must be achieved or even write them in the diary, they still find it difficult to implement them. The same is true for Dr. Wan Meng. When he was sitting in front of the computer to prepare lecture materials, he wasted 30 minutes just browsing online news. I need to concentrate quickly. But after an hour, he thought, it's lunch time. Let's stop and eat first. Be sure to postpone it until it's time to get started before starting in a hurry. Mengzhen's situation is similar. Although I decided to wash the accumulated clothes and clean up immediately after returning home, I unconsciously started to lie down and browse the web again. Oh, just wash it tomorrow. The clothes won't stink anyway. By tomorrow, everything seems to be going smoothly. Anyway, today is over, let's start from tomorrow. Every time I make up my mind like this, I end up making the same mistake again the next day. Why exactly is this happening? If one day goes by like this, will it just give up halfway? Am I lazy and lacking in willpower? The concept of procrastination is something that people with similar troubles as mentioned above must pay attention to. In psychology, the phenomenon of deliberately delaying time or postponing work is called procrastination or procrastination behavior. It is not because there is plenty of time, but when you continue to procrastinate unnecessarily, resulting in bad results, but you still cannot break away from a similar behavior pattern, it can be called procrastination. A paper published in 2019 introduced the standard for general procrastination. There are only 9 short questions in total. You might as well try to check yourself. Through the questions in the table, you can also learn about the main characteristics of patients with procrastination. Do you think there are many questions? Then you are probably procrastinating right now. I hope you don't put off reading this chapter. For people who are used to procrastinating work, there is a well-known TED Talk, Inside the Mind of a Master Procrastinator. Tim. Although Tim Urban is not a psychologist, in this speech, he explained the reasons for laziness more intuitively and interestingly than anyone else. He described that in the brains of habitual procrastinators, there are both rational decision makers and monkeys pursuing instant gratification. Therefore, their behavior is not always irrational, and the monkey pursuing instant gratification will most of the time win the tug-of-war. When we are controlled by the monkey who pursues immediate gratification, we are more willing to spend time on things we want to do or interesting things than necessary to do items. This is the beginning of procrastination. Fortunately, we still have a last line of defense called the panic monster, so we will start taking action as soon as the mission deadline is approaching. It's over. It can't go on like this. Only when the anxiety comes over, will we work quickly. But no matter what, since the transfer was successful in the end, the same pattern kept repeating. Although the monkey running rampant inside the body vividly presents the cause of procrastination, this explanation is not comprehensive enough. Psychology expert Linda. Based on her rich clinical experience, Linda Sapadin divided people who habitually procrastinate into 6 types to understand the real reasons why they procrastinate. 1. Perfectionist. The first reason for procrastination is the tendency of perfectionism to pursue perfect scores in everything. Although there is nothing wrong with wanting to make things perfect, blindly pursuing excessively high standards and unrealistic perfectionism will become the root of the problem. Obsessed with achieving 100%, just the preparation and planning beforehand is enough to make yourself exhausted. In particular, perfectionists will not start at all if they feel that they cannot achieve 100%. In other words, rather than face failure, it is better to choose not to start. Many times, perfectionists work harder than anyone else because they want to do things well, but in the end they fail to complete them as scheduled. 2. Dreamer, blindly believing that the ship will fall into place when it reaches the bridge without making any realistic plans. At first glance, although he looks like an optimist who actively affirms himself, in fact, everything has no objective basis or plan, and is purely imagination. People who are trapped in unrealistic optimism often make bold statements, "It will be done soon and it won't be difficult," but they never carefully calculate the time and effort required to deal with things. People who are dreamers often come up with all kinds of excellent ideas and ambitious goals, but they don't care about the details. I always have big dreams, but because it is difficult to implement them in practice, the progress always stays in dreams. 3. Worrier, people with high levels of worry and anxiety will procrastinate in doing things. This type of person is unable to concentrate on work because they constantly ask themselves, "What if something happens? They spend too much time worrying, but anxiety doesn't make things go smoothly. For crisis makers, some people enjoy the feeling of surviving on the edge of a cliff. This type is the opposite of a worrier. They like the sense of urgency when a deadline is approaching and believe that the greater the pressure, the better they can do a job. Although the work can be completed in advance, they always have to stay up until the last minute to catch up on the work. Maybe it doesn't matter when you're young, but as you grow older, this working model will become difficult to maintain, and more negative situations will occur. 5D Fire, live life with the mentality of why do I have to do it, usually don't like to follow rules and hate to be controlled. When a task must be completed, especially if it is not entirely one's job, he will openly resist. Sometimes, although they say I'll be responsible, they will delay work until the last minute, thereby engaging in passive resistance. 6 Overdoer, people who take on too much work because they are not good at saying no or have difficulty deciding on priorities will eventually fall into procrastination. Especially the inability to politely refuse other people's requests makes me always busy and dizzy, and as a result, I often forget things. Although this type of people consider themselves lazy, in fact they are far from lazy. Even if the reasons and types of procrastination are clarified, you will not become a person who sticks to the plan. You must reflect on your behavior patterns, further examine your heart, and try to make changes. How can we stop the habit of fishing for 3 days and drying the net for 2 days, and do our part well? The first step to change is to confirm whether you are really procrastinating and lazy in doing things, when, how, and how long you have been procrastinating. Some people have higher standards for themselves, and even if they complete tasks on time, they still feel that they are delayed. Please try to divide the day into time periods and record what you have done. Are you starting to feel upset already? Do you think, if you have time to write records, why not just go to work? If it's difficult to record the whole day in detail, then focus on the time when you plan to do something and see how this time is spent. As long as you observe again and again, you will discover your procrastination patterns. Although this method seems simple, it is actually very effective. According to East Carolina University, Robert. According to research conducted by Professor Robert Carell's team, people who regularly keep weight loss or exercise diaries will lose more weight and exercise more than those who do not keep records. This is the so-called self-monitoring effect. Just watch how much food you eat, how much time you invest in exercise, and how many kilograms you weigh today, so you can choose the right direction and stick with it. Target people who sit for long periods of time and ask them to self-monitor their sitting posture at work. Regardless of whether the frequency is high or low, the time they maintain the correct posture will be much longer than those who do not self-monitor. No matter what type of situation you are in, the process of self-observation and review will increase your chances of achieving your goals. I roughly understand the effect, but it's still a bit troublesome. If it's really that effective, I'll try it from tomorrow. Do you also have this idea? When the word tomorrow appears, it is already the beginning of procrastination. You might as well get started now. What do you usually say to yourself when you keep putting off something? Do you let your body be buried in the sofa, and then turn the TV channels while mumbling it's time to exercise? There are several common mantras used by people who are used to procrastinating: it should be, it is the way it is, this matter is very important, etc. Although it sounds okay at first glance, if you look into it carefully, you will find that it contains the mentality of I don't want to do it either, but there is nothing I can do about it. Because there is a lack of personal will, only a heavy sense of obligation is left, so that I constantly want to procrastinate. Words have unexpectedly powerful power, and even talking to oneself has a certain influence. Self-talk that expresses one's own thoughts in words, if it contains an attitude of active choice and positive affirmation, can give oneself confidence and ignite motivation. Try changing the words "this must be done" to "I have to do this," I must finish it. Do you want to start now? This is very important. Important was changed to let's try one thing first. I don't even have time to rest was changed to I should take the time to take a walk. Developing the habit of self-talk is also a good way to deal with procrastination. When we think of to-do lists, we are often overwhelmed. Why do things always pile up? When will they be done? While sighing, I simply merged with the sofa. At this time, the self-talk that can make our bodies move is, let's get started anyway. The moment you say this and sit down, the progress will begin to move forward slowly. Once you are on track, you will finish a lot of work before you know it. 13th. What needs to be done always has to be put off until the next day. The super simple 5-second rule instantly changes procrastination. Source: Vogue Taiwan. Do you suffer from procrastination? I always have trouble getting up in the morning and the tasks I need to do are always put off until the next day. Do you want to change this symptom in 2023? Personal development coach Mel Robbins offers an effective technique for improving procrastination. Every morning, she would count down the 5 seconds in her mind after the alarm clock rang. Before her brain could push her into procrastination, she would already get out of bed. The next day, she tried again. Still valid. Soon after, Mel Robbins launched a book called The 5-Second Rule, which details how to improve procrastination. Now millions of people have tried it and successfully solved their procrastination. It's simple: take action within 5 seconds. Once you think of something you don't want to do, count down in your mind, 5-4-3-2-1. It applies to everything, whether it's sports, work, or family. 5 seconds can catch your brain off guard. Before it understands, doubts, and controls our thoughts, we have already taken action. Mel Robbins said, at some point, we are all fooled. You think what you lack is motivation, but it is not. The 5-second rule can help you change, start a business, become a better parent, a better partner, and achieve things you want to achieve in life. When you don't have time to feel those uncertain, scary, complicated feelings, you take action. Neuroscientists use tests on the prefrontal cortex to explain why the 5-second rule is successful. This area is responsible for decision-making, memory and reasoning. It will remind you to stay alert to changes and face stress. Making excuses for tasks you are not used to. Through the 5-second rule, we will transform into what scientists call metacognition, which means we control our thoughts with actions. Mel Robbins shared the changes brought about by this rule in a TED Talk that has been viewed nearly 30 million times. Regain confidence, conquer fear, stop stressing and worrying, live happier, and finally have the courage to share and defend your beliefs. In addition to improving work efficiency, the 5-second rule can also reduce anxiety and get rid of paralyzing fears, such as flying or speaking in public. Do you see this exciting thing? This simple method can be started at any time. 14th. Why are some people always late? Source: BBC News. First of all, I need to examine myself. I am a late person. At least, someone who is breaking the habit of being late. In fact, I repeatedly missed the deadline for this article, which was embarrassing. I tried to pretend that this was an initiative to experience life for the purpose of writing this article, but that was not the case. I know that situations like mine are not unique. There should be people like this around us. It may be the nanny who is late every day, or it may be a colleague who cannot complete the task on time every time. What's more, if you want to have lunch with a friend, you should deliberately tell him 30 minutes early when telling him the time arrangement to avoid the other party being late. Few habits are as irritating as being late. However, while you may feel dissatisfied as you wait time and time again, your friends and colleagues may not be acting as they do out of selfishness. Psychological research on procrastination can help us gain an overview of such a dysfunctional thinking system. But there is more than one solution. No, people who are late are neither rude nor lazy. People who are unpunctual are generally viewed negatively, but this can be a misunderstanding. It's easy to think of these people as disorganized, and not only behaving rudely but also being inconsiderate of other people's feelings, says Harriet Mel-Otta, a cognitive behavioral therapist who is still practicing clinical medicine in London. Trained in psychology, if I weren't practicing clinically, I would be particularly annoyed by people who were late. But many unpunctual people have at least some organizational skills and want to keep their friends, family, and bosses happy. But their unpunctuality was easily noticed, and they were embarrassed by the damage it caused to their relationships, reputations, careers, and finances. Although some people get a thrill out of waiting for others, most people hate being late, writes Diana DeLonza in her book Never Be Late Again. However, it is still difficult for you to overcome your lack of punctuality. Excuse. Some excuses are generally accepted, such as an accident or illness, especially in the case of serious non-punctuality. But other excuses are harder to swallow. Some people who are not punctual blame it on thinking too much, while others say they have other things to do that are more important than being punctual, such as having cute quirks, doing their best work under pressure, or staying up late. Your attention is more concentrated when you wake up early than when you wake up early. Joanna, who works as a teacher in London and did not want her last name published, said her unpunctuality sometimes stems from differences in outlook. I have friends who ask me out, and they might say, anyway after 7 o'clock, she said. But if I arrive at 8 o'clock or later, they get mad. It may not be your fault that you're always late, but it's just the way you are. Experts say people who are unpunctual tend to have similar traits, such as optimism, poor self-control, anxiety, or a love for excitement. Personality differences can also determine how we experience the passage of time. In 2001, San Diego State University psychology professor Jeff Conte conducted a study in which he divided participants into Type A, ambitious, competitive, and Type B, creative, contemplative, and thoughtful. Good at exploring. He asked them to judge how long a minute was by feel without a watch. Type A people feel that 1 minute lasts about 58 seconds, and Type B people feel that 1 minute lasts as long as 77 seconds. You are your own worst enemy. Tim Urban, a 2015 TED speaker, describes himself as a punctual person. People who are unpunctual often have a weird urge to beat themselves up, he said. He gave these poor people a name, CLIP, chronically late insane people. Of course there are other reasons for being late, but a lot of it still stems from the ego. First, they have expectations of being late and even paying too much attention to details. For Joanna, the most painful example was writing a school report. I never met a deadline, which made it seem like I didn't care, she explains. I would spend weeks thinking about reports and then evaluate each one with too much trepidation. Kid. But the fact that the report was late ruined my plans. For some people, lack of punctuality is a result of common mental health or psychiatric problems, Mellett said. For example, people with anxiety tend to avoid certain situations, Mellett said. People with lower self-esteem may be more critical of their abilities and spend more time checking their work. People with depression tend to feel sluggish, making it more difficult to be motivated. Repair your brain and keep time? Dr. Linda Sapadin, an independent psychologist in New York and author of How to Beat Procrastination in the Digital Age, said that the reason why some people are repeatedly late is because obsessive thinking. In short, she believes that procrastinators focus on the fear associated with an event, or the looming deadline. Instead of finding ways to overcome their fears, they let their fears become excuses, often expressed in the form of buts. For example, you might tell yourself, I also want to be punctual, but I can't decide what to wear. I started writing an article, but I'm worried that my colleagues will think my writing is bad, she explains. What's really important is what comes after the but, Sapadin said. She suggested that people change but to and. She explains that but expresses opposition and obstruction, and expresses relationship and determination, so that the task becomes less daunting and the obstacle posed by fear is lowered. In order to keep time, Delonze first identified the things that always made her late. She said it took her repeated failures to become more punctual. She then realized that what she craved was the tension of rush. Changing what she desires is the only way to make it more punctual. When I set my sights on goals with a stronger sense of time, I discovered how important it is to be a reliable person, Delonze said. Developing this aspect of myself quickly became a priority. In addition, some people's procrastination habits become intolerable to friends and family. Some clients come to her after frustrated loved ones purchase Zapoten classes or counseling services. There is a glimmer of hope for those forced to wait. You can clarify the limits of what you will tolerate. Instead of sulking, you can clarify your position and set boundaries, she says. Tell the person what you will do if they are not punctual. For example, you could tell a friend who likes to procrastinate that if they are late for more than 10 minutes, you'll be watching a movie alone. For a coworker who always fails to complete work on time, you can tell him that next time you will just give up the part he is responsible for, and you will tell the boss. The turning point for me also came when a close friend made her departure clear. We had arranged to run together at a local park, but I was an hour late. She said she had had enough. She won't make any more plans with me. In this way, she mobilized my enthusiasm. I began to take responsibility and proactively find and solve the problems that caused me to be late repeatedly. As the saying goes, one's country is easy to change, but one's nature is hard to change. The troubles I faced while writing this article are a good example of this. But next time, when I find someone else is forced to wait because of me, I will take a good look at my thinking and try to make a change, even just a little bit. 15th. Wait But Why founder Tim Urban speaks. Do you have procrastination? Source: Daily Headlines. 1. How do we usually plan for an important task? The progress can be slower at the beginning, then gradually speed up in the later stages, and the final task is completed smoothly and in a very orderly manner. But often the result is that we procrastinate and adjust our plans just to get the task done at the last minute before the deadline. 2. There are 3 characters living in the brains of procrastinators: the rational decision maker, the monkey, and the panic monster. Rational decision makers will guide us to do the most reasonable thing. Monkeys only focus on simplicity and happiness, and like to run out and control the direction we are going, and the panic monster is the only thing monkeys are afraid of, and will wake up when deadlines are approaching or when there is danger. To scare away the monkeys and allow rational decision makers to regain control. 3. The rational decision maker in our brain can imagine the future, consider the overall situation, and make long-term plans, so that we can do the most reasonable things, and these things are often difficult and unhappy things. 4. People with procrastination often enter a dark playground, where leisure activities that should not be carried out at this time occur, but the fun gained in the activities at this time is not actually interesting because it is not what we deserve, so the darkness, the air in the playground is filled with guilt, fear, anxiety, and self-hatred. 5. There are 2 types of procrastination, those with deadlines and those without deadlines. The most active stage of the carpe diem monkey often occurs when there is no deadline. 6. For many important things that have no deadlines, investing a lot of energy at the beginning will not produce actual results. Only when we continue to invest energy will we start to see some improvement. When we try our best, we can see big progress. In these, the panic monster won't show up if the situation is such that this type of thing is the easiest thing for us to procrastinate on. 7. Compared with short-term procrastination with deadlines, long-term procrastination without deadlines is less likely to be noticed and less talked about, but it often tortures us silently, which is why most people are chronically depressed. And the source of regret. 8. I think everyone is a procrastinator. Some people may have a healthy relationship with deadlines and not act like it, but many people have chaotic lives because of procrastination. 9. Everyone should check their life calendar in time. Each grid in it represents a week of their life. we will find that we have used up many grids, and the total number of grids is not very many. 10. Everyone procrastinates in life. What we need to seriously think about is, what are the important things that we are really procrastinating on? In this process, we need to always be wary of the carpe diem monkey, which is the task of all of us. 16th. Thinking is the question, doing is the answer. Source: Tianxia Culture. During my lectures, people often ask me, Teacher Su, did you know from the beginning that you wanted to be in hotel management? Of course not, I just roughly knew a direction that suited me, and after choosing the direction, I practiced it step by step. The more you do it, the better you understand how to adjust and focus. Just sitting around daydreaming and worrying without practical execution is ultimately a waste of time. Every time I interview students, I ask them, what are your goals before graduation? What is your life goal in 10 years? Some students were confused and started to think after hearing my question, "Yeah, what is my goal?" Some students answered, "I want to learn English well. I want to get a catering license. I want to go abroad." Although these students stated their goals, they did not think about the specific implementation steps, so the goals seemed huge but loose. More importantly, they only thought about the goals, but did not seem to have the enthusiasm to realize their dreams. I said, "You want to learn English well. Have you made any efforts so far? Have you set aside time to practice every day? Listen to English radio? Do you have any plans to take the TOEIC test? You want to pass the catering license? Have you asked your senior sister how to prepare? Do you know the time and content of the exam? Are there any regulations? Have you checked them all? It's good to want to go abroad. Is your purpose of going abroad to study, work, or experience? Have you started collecting relevant information? Which country do you want to go to? What city? Have you compared different universities or departments?" When I pressed further, many students couldn't resist because their dreams or goals were just ideas and they hadn't even taken the first step. They are afraid of failure, overthinking, and not knowing how to act. These reasons will all lead to the same result, which is to stand at the original point without any change, and the dream is still in a distant place. I would advise students to take action. If they don't do it, there will be nothing. If they do it, they will gradually understand where to adjust, and then gradually accumulate experience, become more and more confident, and understand more and more what to do next. Even if you find that you went on the wrong path and your life takes another path, the process of exploration is worth it because you have worked hard and made a pragmatic decision. There is an old saying, "Don't be afraid of being slow, just be afraid of standing." So stop thinking, get moving, do it, and you will find the answer to your life. Once I went to Bali for work. I followed the locals alone and walked into a restaurant not often visited by tourists. I saw many bowls of side dishes stacked up in the window. I was wondering what to order. The service. When all the food was served, he said, "If you don't eat it, it won't count." What an eye-opener! During this trip, I also discovered that Indonesia also has bento, and it is very special. The boss takes a big leaf, wraps it with rice and barbecue, wraps it up, and bundles it with a straw rope to make a bento. As I travel more often, I particularly like these street snacks, so I have developed a habit. Whenever I see many people gathering together to feast, I will also squeeze in, squat down, and taste the local taste. Traveling requires the spirit and courage to squat down and squeeze in. Even if you have diarrhea, you will know what you can't eat and what you can eat. We love to read travelogues and see travelers record their adventures in dealing with local people, but no travelogue can compare to visiting them in person, and the most interesting thing is to have the courage to squat down and squeeze in with the locals to experience it. I especially like to track during the journey, observe what the locals around me are eating, and follow the past to find out. Once in Gillen I saw everyone eating a pack of purple stuff. The more I looked at it, the more curious I became. I slowly found the source from the end. It turned out to be shawarma, but the shawarma we are used to is skewered meat. They were skewering purple taro. The boss immediately asked me how many pounds I wanted. How many pounds? I had no idea at all, so I had to tell him, just cut it. The purple taro felt good in my mouth, but I just wanted to experience it. Another time when I returned to Wuhan for a business trip, I saw a pretty young lady on the street, wearing 3-inch high heels, and holding a bowl of noodles in her hands while walking and eating. And it's not just her, everyone eats noodles like this. I was surprised when I saw it, and asked my friends around me what was going on. My friends said, it's not bad. Her friend was also able to eat while climbing the stairs. What they ate was Wuhan's famous hot dry noodles. When walking on the street, almost every shop sold hot dry noodles, and everyone was holding a bowl of noodles and eating them while walking. This scene is so unforgettable. When traveling, many people like to travel with a group and see the world by following the small flags in the hands of the tour guides. Some people like to take a self-guided tour with a guidebook and follow the author's instructions to turn left here and turn right there. I am used to getting lost everywhere with courage, exploring one by one, and experiencing it myself. Many unexpected discoveries during travel have been found by accident. The same goes for life. If you get rid of the inertia you are accustomed to, and occasionally walk on different streets or use other means of transportation to commute, you can see different scenery. 17th. 7 strategies to help you effectively improve your procrastination habit and completely get rid of an inefficient life. Source: Grow Up. Today, with the fast pace of life and increasing work pressure, almost everyone has the habit of procrastination, such as subconsciously procrastinating on work tasks that they don't like, or thinking that they can finish things if they do it later, etc. But we all know that the habit of procrastination can do more harm than good. If you have realized that you have a procrastination problem, it is necessary to get rid of this bad habit as soon as possible so as not to affect your normal work life later. This article summarizes 7 methods that can help you effectively improve your procrastination habit, including: Method 1 to improve procrastination. Take important work to a place with zero interference. Method 2 to improve procrastination. Deliberately shorten deadlines. Method 3 to improve procrastination. Use the 2-minute rule to simplify complex tasks. Method 4 to improve procrastination. Make good use of the 321 rule to improve mobility. 5 ways to improve procrastination. Make good use of the Pomodoro technique to keep yourself highly focused. 6 ways to improve procrastination. Prioritize the most difficult tasks every day. Method 7 to improve procrastination. Change your identity as a procrastinator. What is procrastination? Is it what we often call lazy? When it comes to procrastination, I believe many people will directly equate it with laziness. Although how much a person procrastinates is related to his own laziness, procrastination and laziness are essentially 2 different behaviors. People who habitually procrastinate actually want to deal with the important tasks at hand as soon as possible. However, due to the high difficulty of the task and the natural tendency of humans to prefer easy and pleasant things, they will selectively avoid it. This important task, and would rather do other simple and trivial but insignificant things. On the contrary, laziness is a person who has no intention to take action at all. Even if he knows that if he does not deal with the important tasks at hand quickly, he will probably get into trouble, he will still choose to do nothing. 2. What are the causes of procrastination? Number 1, too afraid of failure. Whenever we start to perform a difficult task or try something new, we are somewhat resistant because once we start, there is a possibility of messing up. So on a certain level, procrastination is a mechanism used by our brains to protect us from failure in reality. In addition, the reason why many people are afraid of failure is mostly due to the 2 fundamental factors of caring too much about other people's opinions or fear of being criticized after failure. In the end, the brain will use procrastination to avoid it. There is a risk of failure, but you will always stay in your comfort zone and never make progress. Number 2, perfectionism. Extending the previous cause of procrastination, people who are afraid of failure usually have a perfectionist mentality and are afraid of failure. Perfectionists tend to demand meticulous attention, so they either take too long to complete tasks in life, or they are reluctant to start taking action because their abilities seem unable to achieve their ideal results. Some people say that perfectionism is a positive personality, but if this personality causes you to always hesitate in everything you do and dare not let it go, then it is obviously the biggest stumbling block to your success. Number 3, being in a tempting environment. Emails, messages, social media, video games, short videos, there are so many temptations that can interfere with us today. We must know that these external temptations will actually consume our self-control ability, aka self-discipline, and self-control ability is a limited mental resource. When they are exhausted, it will naturally greatly increase the difficulty of action, indirectly causing us procrastination issues. Number 4, the brain is constantly low in energy. If our brains are always at a low energy level, of course our self-control ability will also be reduced, and it will be more difficult to control ourselves to perform the work we should do. Moreover, in this state, it is easy to lose to external temptations. As long as the phone is by your side, you will pick it up to browse social platforms, or you can't help but open a new window on your computer to watch various entertainment videos or posts. The energy level of your brain is basically closely related to your living habits. Your usual sleep quality, activity level, whether you have the habit of exercising, and the food you eat will directly affect the energy level of your brain. Number 5, lack of clear direction. In real life, we are often entrusted with tasks that we are not good at, have never been exposed to, or even do not like at all. In addition, if the task is complex and difficult, and there is a lack of clear execution direction, those who are not good at planning execution strategies will become resistant and unconsciously procrastinate. I was able to escape reality temporarily. 7 ways to improve your procrastination habit. Number 1, take important work to a place with zero distractions. The environment is enough to affect a person's behavior. Even the most self-disciplined person can hardly guarantee that he can remain highly focused as usual when he is in an environment full of temptations. If you want to perform important tasks without being disturbed by the temptation of the external environment, the most direct way is to remove everything that will cause temptation, or go directly to a place with zero interference to work/study, such as a library. Or a quiet shared space, co-working space, is a good choice. You will later find that working/studying in these zero-distraction environments is often twice as effective as if you were in the comfort of your dorm/home. Number 2, deliberately shorten deadlines. Most people who have the habit of procrastinating usually have a poor sense of time. When the time limit for the task they are entrusted is set longer, they will have the illusion that time seems sufficient, or they will think that they can complete the task in a short time, leading them to put things off again and again. And they will also find various reasons to rationalize their procrastination behavior. It wasn't until the deadline was approaching that I discovered that the task was far more complicated than I imagined. Although the rapidly rising sense of panic in my heart may still force me to complete the task in a short period of time, the results are usually unsatisfactory. I believe friends who have gone to college will be very aware of the above situation. XD, for example, if the report given by the professor sets a deadline that must be completed within 3 weeks, many students will postpone it until the last few days. Rush through it and then turn it in on time at the last minute. If you are often trapped by this kind of temporary procrastination behavior, the best solution is to deliberately shorten the deadlines of important tasks, so as to keep yourself tense and urge yourself to shorten the time to complete the tasks as much as possible. It is worth mentioning that the above-mentioned phenomenon of the more time we are given, the easier it is to procrastinate, causing work to always be completed at the last minute is related to Parkinson's law. Number 3, the 2-minute rule. The 2-minute rule is a set of methods taken from the book Atomic Habits. Simply put, we can break complex and difficult tasks into small tasks that can be completed in 2 minutes. For example, if you want to develop the habit of running every morning, you can set a small goal in your mind to put on your gym clothes first thing in the morning. Or if you want to develop a reading habit, you could make it a goal to read a page every night before bed. We all know that everything is difficult at the beginning, and when we simplify the initial tasks, our mobility will be greatly improved. Once we start taking action, it is easier to generate more inspiration and motivation, allowing ourselves to slowly enter a state of concentration. In the end, you will find that you have completed the task unintentionally. Number 4, Rule of 321. After using the 2-minute rule to simplify complex tasks, it is inevitable that you will sometimes not want to start taking action. But you need to start anything before you have the chance to get the motivation to continue. Whenever you don't even have the will to start, you can further try the 321 rule to force yourself to take action. This method can be said to be incredibly simple and crude. Whenever you want to complete something, just say to yourself in your heart, 3, 2, 1, do it now. For example, when you come home and see that the trash is full, before you think about taking out the trash, just say 3, 2, 1 silently in your mind, and do it right away. When you want to shoot YouTube videos and create your own side business, just say 3, 2, 1 in your mind, and do it immediately. In short, as long as you continue to apply the 321 rule, over time you will develop the habit of making quick decisions and be decisive in everything you do without being sloppy. Number 5, Pomodoro Technique. The Pomodoro Technique is a time management technique invented by an Italian named Francesco Cirillo in 1992. Here's how the Pomodoro Technique works in action. Start by planning every important task you want to accomplish that day. Then begin 25 minutes of deep work. Take a 5-minute break after deep work. Repeat the process of 25 minutes of work plus 5 minutes of short rest 4 times. Finally, take a 20 to 30-minute break. As mentioned earlier, the reason why we humans procrastinate is usually because we simply want to avoid work tasks that we find boring, and the Pomodoro work method can help us complete such work tasks faster. If you combine this with the 2-minute and 321 rules shared earlier, I believe they will greatly improve your mobility and productivity. Number 6, prioritize the most difficult tasks. In a famous time management book, Eat That Frog First, author Brian Tracy compares the most challenging task of our day to a living frog. And when we wake up in the morning and the first thing we do is eat that live frog, there is nothing worse or more disgusting than that for the rest of the day. In other words, if we prioritize the most annoying work tasks in the morning when we are most energetic, then the remaining time can be used to do simple and interesting tasks. This method can also make you live a more fulfilling and efficient life. Number 7, change your identity as a procrastinator. Some people may find the subconscious mind mysterious, but it does exist, and many experts believe that more than 90% of all our daily behaviors are controlled by the subconscious mind. If you have the habit of procrastinating, it is probably because of an idea generated by your subconscious mind, which makes you involuntarily want to escape from those annoying tasks and pursue those relaxing and pleasant things every time. To solve this problem, the best way I can think of is to use the changing identity method mentioned in the book Atomic Habits. To put it simply, changing your identity means that you must first decide what kind of person you want to be, and through the actions you take in life, make yourself believe that you are such a person now. For example, 2 smokers now decide not to smoke due to health problems. Smoker A says, "I am quitting smoking," and smoker B says, "I don't smoke." Neither of the above 2 people's answers sound wrong, but I guarantee that quit B will have a higher success rate. This is because the idea conveyed by ex-smoker B has completely removed his identity as a smoker. In other words, he believes that he is a non-smoker. Over time, this idea will slowly penetrate into his subconscious mind, and the number of cigarettes will gradually decrease, eventually allowing him to successfully quit smoking. The same is true for procrastination. If you have the habit of procrastinating, you must first believe that you are a self-disciplined and efficient person, and try to overcome your bad habit of procrastination through the methods mentioned above every day. Over time, this positive thought of not loving procrastination will penetrate into your subconscious mind, eventually making you the ideal self-disciplined and efficient person. 18th. A lot of anxiety is caused by procrastination. 3 tips to prevent procrastination and improve anxiety. Source: Health and Hope. Many unnecessary troubles in life are caused by out-of-control emotions. If you can reduce the interference of negative emotions, you can maintain a clearer mind to deal with things and make more favorable choices. Procrastination, cure it now. In fact, a lot of anxiety is caused by procrastination. So, what exactly causes our procrastination? Too much to do. Many people think that procrastination is due to lack of determination and bad habits, but here I want to excuse all procrastinators. Maybe it's just that there are too many things that are pressing on them. It is always easy for us to solve 1 or 2 simple things quickly, but once there are many things, the situation is different. People will develop a mentality in the face of a complex list of pending tasks. If you have too many debts, you don't have to worry. If you have too many lice, you don't need to itch. In other words, heavy tasks can actually lead to procrastination. Unclear time points and too many choices. Many things have time nodes, such as the college entrance examination or a certain project demonstration. In these situations, we usually have specific schedule pressures. During this process, although we may want to escape, we are always being urged in our hearts. However, there are still many things that are not so urgent. For example, if you plan to take the qualification certificate in a certain industry, this exam will be held once every month. Well, then, this month will be postponed to the next month, and the next month will be the next months. As the saying goes, tomorrow comes tomorrow. There are so many tomorrows. Once you have the autonomy to choose your time, procrastination begins to breed. Prioritization management failure. This is actually a common problem among many newcomers in the workplace. Although newcomers are positive enough and want to accomplish something in the current working environment, they will inevitably encounter many things coming at them at the same time. Newcomers often cannot figure out which things are more important and spend a lot of time spent on the trivial things in front of me. Social intrusion. During school, we have a lot of time and can arrange our plans however we want, but after work, the situation is different. 3 tips to prevent procrastination. 1. All ritualization is to continue procrastination. Many people hate endless meetings and do not like various boring rituals in the company. Many people in the workplace feel that doing these things is a waste of time and a lot of energy is consumed in a meaningless manner. But have you ever thought that many of the rituals in your behavioral habits are also a waste of time and energy? Yes, a big reason for procrastination is these rituals you make involuntarily. For example, before writing a report at home, I planned to play a game to relax, but ended up playing fiercely all night. When it was over, my eyes were sore and I was yawning all day long. Before memorizing vocabulary, I planned to buy a vocabulary book online, but first, I watched Douyin for half an hour, then Douyin, Weibo. These so-called rituals, to put it bluntly, have little to do with the task itself, but being smart you will always find some reasons for it. I am starting work. What happened to relaxing before? Since I have to memorize words, shouldn't I get a nice-looking notebook to show my grandeur? Where is the truth? In your subconscious mind. Although there is a lot of work in front of you, your heart, i.e. subconscious mind, still tends to avoid it. Then, your thinking will try to obey the subconscious mind, quickly think of ways to transfer, arrange various reasons, and after a long period of screening, ritual sense has become the easiest way to pass the test of laziness, because this method can easily deceive your legitimate superficial motives. In this way, the original efforts and determination will be biased towards being induced by the inner, subconscious mind. Exculpation, and external conditions, such as those who want to spend your time on various social software, carefully designed scams. When you really want to accomplish something, you don't have the energy to create a sense of ritual. Once you have the idea of a sense of ritual, it only means that you are resisting it in your heart. So if you still have a little bit of sanity at this time, listen to me, quickly get rid of these miscellaneous thoughts, and directly start doing the thing itself. 2. Don't worry about that, just give me something every day. The second reason for procrastination is a lack of confidence, which often comes from an overly powerful opponent. The tiger eats the sky and has nowhere to lower his teeth. He turns around and lies down, chatting and drinking tea. This description must be familiar to you. How many times have you wanted to make a big plan, but when you started to do it, you found that the plan was too big? It's so big that it's difficult for me to finish it in a short time, or I simply don't know how to do it, so I can only put it on hold. The more I put it aside, the more difficult it becomes, and eventually it becomes endless procrastination until I give up. How to do it? You can only break it down into zeros. Smart people know how to cut and separate huge goals, and then complete them step by step from basic to advanced. This is also the thinking ability commonly possessed by excellent newcomers in the workplace. There are always highs and lows in the ability to do things and learn, but you must have the ability to divide huge tasks into parts, analyze, analyze again, cut again, until things are cut into parts that you can eat. If you use small pieces, such as small tasks that can be completed within an hour, the resistance to action will not be so great, and you will have enough energy to face difficulties instead of being defeated in one blow. Although the long march is far, we can always take the first step. 3. The bed is your worst enemy. I have read an article before, titled Sleep-Deprived Chinese. The article used a lot of information to show that Chinese young people, mainly newcomers to the workplace, are seriously sleep-deprived. But I still want to say, the bed is the enemy. First of all, please don't think wrongly. The beds here are only for sleeping and resting. Once a person goes to bed, changes in limb position will directly adjust our hormone levels. Whether you are a quick sleep Superman who can fall asleep as soon as you touch the pillow, or a humanoid self-propelled alarm with long-term insomnia and easy awakening, the fighting spirit in your body, they will all slack off. Maybe you climbed into bed with a task, for example, holding a book, but your persistence has begun to decrease at this moment. Even if you persist, your efficiency will be greatly reduced. What's even more terrible is that once you go to bed, many of your functions will be restricted, such as your writing ability, which will become very poor at this time. This is like the morale of the army on the battlefield being shaken. When you continue to discard weapons, the final retreat is expected. When this happens every day, your procrastination becomes a foregone conclusion. Yes, sleep is important, but for most newcomers in the workplace, we are not qualified to enjoy adequate sleep. This is the cruel reality. Wolves can take a nap every day, but for sheep, it is either sleep to death or survive. To put it more seriously, this is the truth. 19th. How to treat procrastination. Psychologists teach 7 improvement methods, and if you learn them, you will get closer and closer to your goals. Source: Feng Media. Procrastination is like a very persuasive friend, always encouraging us to put off less interesting things again and again, tempting us to deal with things that are exciting or can be done immediately. Procrastinating on doing things may be because we think the task is too difficult, so we instinctively want to avoid it, or we feel that the matter is not urgent enough and can wait until later. The study Beyond Willpower, Practice for Reducing Self-Control Failures conducted by psychologists at Harvard University and the University of Pennsylvania points out that by creating, scheduling, and following plans, we can reduce procrastination and facilitate difficult tasks. Action. Once you implement it step by step, you will eventually be freed from the chaotic thoughts of "Can I really do it? Can I persist to the end?" These thoughts of repeated self-questioning. Because you already have the answer, that is, make a detailed progress chart to help you reach your goal, starting from taking the first step, and then moving forward step by step. Use the SMART goal method to set a schedule. 1. Decide on feasible goals. 2. Set daily and/or weekly small goals during the process. 3. Arrange the plan in your calendar and make adjustments as needed at any time. 4. Applaud your own progress and victory. And think about what these things mean to you. If you want to learn to swim, it seems wise to stand by the swimming pool and test the water temperature with your toes first, but then there are many steps such as getting into the swimming pool, waving your hands, and wearing swimming rings, which require more mental construction, but all of this is just a warm-up. You haven't even started swimming yet. Once you have a goal you want to achieve, commit yourself wholeheartedly to taking action on it and commit to it without reservation. You deserve the best moments. So take a brave leap, jump into the water, and feel the coolness of the water. You will see a completely different scene under the water and feel happy for your breakthrough. 3 steps to get you closer to your goals. 1. Make a commitment to yourself and your goals. The American Society for Training and Development found that making a conscious decision to accomplish a goal increased success rates by 25%. 2. Tell others about your goals. Telling others you're going to work hard to achieve your goals can increase your success rate to 65%. 3. Report the progress of execution to others. If you can report your progress to the other party, the possibility of completing the goal will be greatly increased to 95%. 20th. Procrastination. Source: MBA Think Tank Encyclopedia. Procrastination refers to unnecessary and harmful delaying behavior. It means to leave the things of the past for tomorrow. Procrastination always manifests itself in various small things, but over time, it especially affects personal development. The so-called procrastination is the lack of self-management, from emotions to time. From the perspective of behavioral psychology, James Ma, a professor of psychology at Southern Connecticut State University in the United States, believes that procrastination is a special form of impulse that is opposed to self-control. He also found that when 2 tasks were required, when given a choice between 2 tasks, study subjects tended to prefer the less urgent one because although the task was more arduous, procrastination was more pleasurable. There is such a little story. A group of boys always liked to go to a certain lawn to play football. The owner of the lawn tried to dissuade them to no avail, so he came up with a way. He said to the boys, "If you come to play football every day, I am willing to give each of you $1 a day." The boys readily agreed. The next day, the master said, "From now on, I can only give you 50 cents. The boys reluctantly accepted. On the 3rd day, the owner stopped paying and the boys left angrily. Who will want to come here to play football in the future? From a psychoanalytic perspective, this story embodies a common phenomenon. Individuals tend to avoid imposed requirements, even if they are consistent with previous wishes. In order to gain a sense of autonomous control, procrastinating and avoiding external tasks is a convenient way. What's more, sometimes procrastination is even encouraged. The external environment has a requirement on me, and I have my own ideas and will delay doing things. As I grow up, I gradually develop a sense of pleasure in procrastination, and later it becomes a habit. If I don't procrastinate, I will still do it. There are negative feelings such as anxiety. During the open-ended interviews, most procrastinators will mention similar experiences. Procrastination does not really bring harm, they rush to complete the task at the last moment, and at the same time satisfy their vanity. It only takes a short time to achieve good results, even better than others. Invisibly, the mentality that I am most suitable for short-term, high-pressure working conditions is strengthened and has implications for future work. This goes on, over and over again. Procrastination. Angela, a professor in the Department of Organizational Psychology at Columbia University, believes that the situation of not being able to complete the task on time is a negative procrastination. In the article Rethinking Procrastination, the positive effects of active procrastination in attitudes and behaviors, she distinguishes procrastination into two states, negative procrastination and active procrastination. In contrast, the latter tends to prefer to work under pressure. Work so they can make more thoughtful decisions and implement them in a more timely manner. In addition to anxiety and avoidance of control, perfectionism is often associated with procrastination. Professor Ferrari believes that some procrastination behaviors are not the procrastinator's lack of ability or insufficient effort, but a reflection of some form of perfectionism or perfectionism. Their common voice is, "Give me more time, I can do more good." Research on the physiological roots of procrastination currently, referring to 2009, mostly focuses on the function of the prefrontal cortex. This brain area is responsible for executive functions of the brain, such as planning, impulse control, and attention, and also acts as a filter, reducing distracting stimuli from other brain areas. Damage or low activity in the prefrontal cortex will lead to a reduced ability to filter out noisy stimuli, thereby worsening the ability to organize tasks. Dr. Fleury defines three basic types of procrastinators. Encouragement type, or stimulation-seeking type, they look forward to the pleasure of being busy in the last few minutes. Avoidant type, they avoid the fear of failure, or even fear of success, but in fact they are very concerned about how others think of themselves. They would rather others think that they do not work hard enough than that they lack ability. Determination type, they cannot make up their minds. Not making up your mind avoids procrastination in dealing with things. Time management expert Garland Carlson found that the same procrastination has different motives and types. Understanding why you procrastinate is a prerequisite for improving your ability to take action. He divided procrastination into 5 basic types. The first type is the worried person. They spend most of their time and energy imagining where they might go wrong. The result is that you feel exhausted before you even start doing anything. The second type is the perfectionist. Being too perfect in job requirements, spending a lot of time checking, planning, trying to account for all the unknown variables, and making unnecessary revisions. At the same time, he is not at ease with his partners and has to do everything himself. The result is that one project takes up all their time. There is another kind of person who is a people pleaser. He is always the first to volunteer to help others take on more work. He is already overloaded, but he doesn't know how to refuse, so his own affairs are naturally delayed. There is also the hummingbird type. They are able to multitask, mostly small tasks, because it brings immediate gratification, which can lead to delays in getting started on large projects or long-term tasks. They seem to be busy all day and yet seem to have accomplished nothing. The most common one is the invisible procrastinator. They can always complete their tasks on time, but these things are often the result of procrastinating for a long time, trying their best to rush to work, and every task makes them exhausted. It can be seen that all delays are caused by one's own temperament. This emotion may be anxiety about doing something wrong, or panic about not being recognized. What we need to face is that these emotions are inevitable, and we must learn to experience and accept them. Joseph Ferrari, a professor of psychology at DePaul University in the United States, told the journal Psychological Science that procrastination generally occurs for 2 basic reasons. 1. Procrastinators feel that their current mood is not suitable for completing the task. 2. Procrastinators believe that if they delay for a while, their mood will improve. Characteristics of procrastination. 1. No confidence. Because every time you complete a task, you fail to reach your highest ability, your assessment of your own abilities will become lower and lower. 2. I am too busy. I've been putting it off because I've been so busy. 3. Stubborn. It's no use urging me. I'll start doing it when I'm ready. 4. Manipulate others. It's useless for them to be anxious, Everything can't start until I arrive. 5. Fight stress. Because there is so much pressure every day, things to do are kept being put off. 6. Victim mentality. I also know why I am like this. I cannot do what others can do. Causes of procrastination. Superficial reasons. 1. Too difficult. 2. Too time consuming. 3. No relevant knowledge and skills. 4. Afraid that others will know that you can't do well. Deeper reason. 1. Perfectionism. Everything must reach a very high level and be done right the first time, so I don't want to start in a hurry and have everything ready. Solution: tell yourself that your current state is good and you can start. Encourage yourself with every progress you make. Realize that it is impossible not to make any mistakes. Great writers, poets, and artists all complete their masterpieces intermittently, and you can do the same. 2. Resistance and hostility. This teacher had such a bad attitude towards me that I was not happy to do the homework he assigned. Solution: realize that you are the one who suffers if you don't complete your homework. You cannot affect your future just because of a teacher's attitude. 3. Easily become decadent. The task is too difficult, or others don't need to do it. Why should I do it? I can't bear to continue doing it. Let's wait until tomorrow. But often when tomorrow comes, I still feel unhappy about doing it and continue to push it back. Solution: find all the help you can find, try to reduce the difficulty of things and make progress, temporarily delay your desire to give up, and do more every day if you can. This is also in line with the current situation of many Chinese students. Because not everyone is interested in their own topics, it is easy to feel bored, so it is not easy to settle down and complete related tasks. The solution is as mentioned above. Ask others for help and listen to suggestions. At the same time, you can divide the task into easier pieces and break them into parts. Tell yourself that each small part can be completed easily. 4. Self-deprecation. If you often fail to complete tasks well, your own estimate of your ability will become lower and lower. Even if you complete the task well in the future, you will think it is luck. The solution to procrastination. 1. Break down the goals. The goal decomposition method is to decompose a goal into several small parts, and then complete the small parts one by one, and finally complete the entire goal. That is to break down difficult tasks into easy tasks. To give the simplest example, on weekends, it is most common for children to procrastinate on homework. No matter how much you urge him, he will hesitate to start writing when he thinks that there is so much homework and there is still enough time. But if you tell him, write Chinese in the morning on Saturday, math in the afternoon, and English in the evening, he may start to move, because after all, small goals that have been decomposed are much easier than big goals. 2. Do the hardest thing at hand first. Brian Tracy has a book called Eat That Frog. The title is inspired by an American proverb. If you eat a live frog first thing every morning, you'll be delighted to know that there's nothing worse that you can do throughout the day. The so-called living frogs are the most difficult things that are not easy to complete and make us reluctant to do them. If we complete the most difficult things in the task first, then the subsequent process will be much smoother. Our symptoms of procrastination will also improve. 3. Eliminate all interference factors. The reason why we like to procrastinate is that sometimes there are many interfering factors around us. In order to do something without delay, we have to eliminate these interfering factors. There is a way to eliminate distractions called throwing your backpack over the wall. It means that if a person wants to climb over the wall, he should throw his backpack over first, leaving no room for himself. In this way, you have to devote yourself to climbing over the wall. When Victor Hugo was writing Les Miserables, in order not to distract himself and find various reasons to delay, he took off all his clothes, asked the servants to take away the clothes, and locked himself up naked. In the study, he didn't dare to go out and forced himself to write as many words as he could in a day. Therefore, the essence of procrastination is a struggle between ourselves and ourselves. If we force ourselves and eliminate all interference, many things will not be delayed. 4. Complete first and then improve. Some people who procrastinate do so because they pursue perfection and always want to hold back a big move, which invisibly sets up obstacles for themselves, causing things to be delayed again and again. Facebook website has a work slogan, "Done is better than perfect." More important than perfection is completion. This is a slogan that Facebook founder Zuckerberg has posted in his office since the early days of his business. He uses it as a guideline for action, warning employees not to pursue perfection excessively, but to complete the goal first, and then move on. To improve and continuously iterate. Any perfect thing is perfected little by little on the basis of completion, and finally reaches perfection. A bad beginning is better than no beginning at all. So, when you do something, don't think about how to make it more perfect first, but complete it first. 5. Develop an initiation ceremony. According to relevant expert research, one of the best ways to overcome procrastination is to create a so-called initiation ceremony, just like a rocket launch ceremony. Mel Robbins invented the 5-second rule, which is a good initiation ceremony. When you want to procrastinate, count down 5 numbers in your mind: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, start. Through this ritual, you can stimulate the prefrontal cortex of your brain, force you to stop procrastinating, and regain control of yourself. Some people say, action is the cure for procrastination. Because only through action can we shorten the gap between us and our goals, we hope that the above 5 methods can make us take action and save our procrastination behavior. Conclusion. Actions speak louder than words.